try and get some painting done today. So I got all these washed up. Let's get these stickers off of here and then get to scuffing and sanding. Ready for paint. Alright, so now that I've washed these, I've cleaned the old liner out of this tank, spilled acetone all over it in the process, so it's a good thing we're repainting. So I've taken a lot of these parts, I've scraped off the stickers, I've gone over some of the heavier rusted areas, and taken that back down to bare metal, smooth metal. And now we're going to go ahead and sand with some 400 to 600 grit sandpaper and scuff it up and get it ready for the next coat. Alright, we've got our various assorted motorcycle items here. We have sanded these down to 400. They're pretty smooth, but not slick. And then we wash them with just dish soap and the Scotch-Brite pad. And now we're going to hit them with some glass cleaner and a paper towel to pick up a leftover grit. So unfortunately, you don't get to see the remainder of the prep and first coat of base color because I did not have the camera recording. But in a minute here you will see how I taped off the design and shot the second color as well as the clear. Alright, well it looks like shit outside, so good rainy day activity is to get the lines on this tank masked off. Just as like guidelines, I've set these in here, these kind of squared off lines, just so it's, you know, the same on either side. We're gonna do a pinstripe of this white color and then a solid section as well. So we'll get the pinstripe laid first and then we'll do the solid section inside of that. I'm not loving how this is a little shorter here. It almost leans forward, and I want it nice and round. So let's try that again. So here's the general shape. That'll be this inside line of the panel on the side. The question now is, do I want this to be the outside pinstripe, or do I want to come all the way up here and run a second line around it and make this the solid panel? And I think it needs to be outside. I think this needs to be solid up to here and then run a second pinstripe around the outside. Yep, I think that's what we're doing. So there's our outside pinstripe, and this, like I said, will be one solid color. All right. Second side done. Nice even gap all the way around. Like I said, I'm just using the I've just created a gap in between that's about the same as the thickness of the tape itself. Okay, and then we'll mask off this center area. Let's get on to filling in this section here. So just four little tabs, kind of in the, I guess you could call them the corners, that I can easily remove later on and be sure that my pinstripe is going to stay exactly where I put it. So there's one side done. Let's get on to the other side. There she be. So again, white, white, orange, and lots of chrome. I told this guy he should call it the chromesicle. We'll see if that sticks. But there you go. When you see this tank again, it'll be ready for a coat of orange. All right. So these are the parts that are going to be getting painted orange. We've got our masking done here. And this whole fender is going to be one solid coat of orange per request. So we've got them hung up. There's some what looks like some kind of oil or solvent that somehow splashed up on this fender, so we're going to go over it again with glass cleaner. Same with that one to make sure that our paint adheres properly. This has already been scuffed like you saw in the last part of the video. And what I'm going to do here is go over this masking tape with the same base color, just a real thin coat, and let that dry before I go and spray my top color, the orange, just to seal off the edges of the paint and make sure that there's no bleed from the orange and I get nice clean, crisp lines between the two colors. So we'll clean them up first, and then we'll spray the last little bit of the white. I've gone through and sanded down a few more spots here that were still showing through from the coats underneath. So this is nice and smooth now. And I have just gone over with a microfiber just to pick up any large pieces of sanded paint or debris or dust from the garage or whatever. And now I'm going to go over them again with some glass cleaner to make sure that everything is clean and the paint adheres well. So we'll do that next. Nice and clean. What I'm going to do now is go over these masking lines with the same base color, and I'm going to do that to seal the edges of this tape. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue, but I want to make sure that the orange doesn't bleed under the tape and leave me with some messed up lines. Nice and clean, so we're going to do that next. I also just went through and sanded the oil tank again. I really wasn't happy with the couple of runs that we had from, well, it doesn't matter how that happened. Well, I guess I didn't have the camera recording, but here's our first coat of orange laid down, just a light coat. And they look a little different because this has got black underneath, and this, as you saw, was white. But they are the same paint. It's funny how different they look. That'll start to correct once we get more coats on there. There we go. Here's where we're at with the tanks. Well, the tank is looking good. I do want to rotate it and make sure that I get even coverage on the bottom as well with the orange. All right. I think we're going to call it good there. So we'll let this tack up a little bit so that we can handle it, and then we will take off our pinstriping masking and throw some clear on. We're done with the orange. Let's go ahead and get our tape peeled. How about that? Not bad. Alright, now that we've got all our color down, it is time for clear. Alright, today we're going to be doing some wet sanding and buffing on this clear. So this is cured for a little over a week. I think I sprayed it about 9 days ago. It's all set up and it's ready to be wet sanded. I have done the oil tank already and I'm happy with the result that I got. It took all the peel out, so I am going to do the same for the fender and the tank. So we're going to start the process with some 2000 grit sandpaper, and that'll do a good job of taking down the orange peel without taking too much clear off. And then we're going to hit it with, this is what I have been using. This is just Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. There's nothing special about it. I got this bottle for 14 bucks at Harbor Freight. There's certainly better stuff to be had, but this is what I'm going to use. Simple and effective. So here's our rear fender before we start. There's not a lot of peel to be seen in this one. In fact, the top of it looks pretty good, but going over the surface with my hand, I can feel there are some imperfections. And there are spots where there's just a little bit of peel. More so on this area here. So let's go through with our 2000 and knock those down. So that's the wet sanding done. Obviously it's still wet, so you can't really see the final texture, but we'll dry this off and then we'll get to buffing. We're waiting for that to dry. We'll go ahead and get started on the tank. The tank here probably has the most orange peel of any of it. You can see here along this reflection. just how much there is. I'm happy with the way it came out design-wise and color, but yeah, we're going to make sure this looks smooth as glass.
Dude, the tank looks fucking sick.
About what you pictured?
Yep, that's exactly what I pictured.
It looks great.
It's
not bad for
fucking beautiful.
Backyard, huh?
Yeah.
So that's it. We're painted. they love it. Customer's happy, I'm happy. So, alright, so there's our painting project done. Tank, oil tank, and fender have now been cut and buffed. All the peel is gone. They're looking really good, and I'm really excited to get this bike together. So, thanks for watching.